Hey guys, it's Dog King, here to discuss what if I made the Booster Course Pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because, as you might know, the Booster Course Pass is pretty much done. As of recording, it comes out in like a couple days. It technically comes out tomorrow night, so, that's pretty exciting, but there are a few things I feel not too strongly about, or, there are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of, and most notably is how they axed my favorite tour track. Rest in peace, Piranha Plant Pipeline. You were so much fun in tour, and I will never get to play you again. Now, I'm gonna make my own Booster Course Pass, but I have some rules and limitations. So, as with the real Booster Course Pass, every track needs to be in tour already, and all non-RMX Tour Nitros must return. The goal here is preservation, which I do believe was the original goal of the Booster Course Pass, and then for whatever reason they had to cut Pipeline. I don't think it was because of theme overlap, it was probably just not working how they wanted, but whatever, we're putting Pipeline in regardless. And even though I don't like Sky High Sunday, I'll be including it regardless. Tour release dates will mostly be ignored. Earlier cities will be in earlier waves, though, and for the most part. And city tracks must have at least one variant released in Tour before the release of their wave. And the number of tracks per game does not matter. A game may be given more or less tracks at my choice compared to the real pass. The prefix leak doesn't matter. I'm still gonna mostly have similar numbers of tracks, but that's just because quite a few of the tracks were decent selections. And one final thing, this is all in good fun. If I remove a track that you like, or if I keep a track that you hate, or if I add a track that you hate, or if I don't add a track that you like, any of that, don't worry about it. This is my alternate Booster Course Pass. Everyone can have their own opinions. So, it doesn't matter if I like tracks that you don't, or if I, because even some of the tracks that I add, I'm not a huge fan of, and you'll see that later on. So, here's the key. Green text means that the track was kept in the same wave. It may or may not have been moved to a different cup or a different slot in the same cup. A yellow text means that the track was moved to a different wave. And red text means that the track wasn't in the original Booster Course Pass at all. So let's start off with the Golden Dash Cup. I kept it mostly the same. There is only one change I made. I replaced Toad Circuit entirely with 3DS Mario Circuit, because Toad Circuit is the 50th track in the game. If we're gonna make the 50th track in the game a circuit, you shouldn't make it the first track of its game. Come on. Plus, I like 3DS Mario Circuit. I think it would have been better in that slot than Toad Circuit. Now, Lucky Cat Cup, I've made a few alterations. First off, I'm moving Riverside Park from Wave 4 to here, and that's because Riverside Park, I basically want to keep the better of the GBA remakes, and Sky Garden is not a good GBA remake, so I put Riverside Park in its slot. And then I also took out Ninja Hideaway because I think that the massive difficulty jump is way too much. So I put Sky High Sunday here instead. As I mentioned, the only time release dates really matter are for city tracks, so Sky High Sunday could definitely release in Wave 1, and it fits better in Wave 1 than it does Wave 2, despite not releasing in the summer now. So, if we go back, Golden Dash Cup, Paris Promenade, Mario Circuit, Choco Mountain, and Wii Coconut Mall, and Lucky Cat Cup, Tokyo Blur, Riverside Park, Shroom Ridge, and Sky High Sunday. Now, Turnip Cup is getting a complete makeover. First off, I'm moving Amsterdam Drift here. There was one variant of this track available in Tour when Wave 2 came out, and with my with my rules and limitations, that's all it needs. So it goes here. As you can see, Mushroom Gorge is staying in this wave. But I think I moved it. I'm gonna have to... It's staying in this wave. I'm not sure if I moved it. It used to be in the Propeller Cup. Next up, instead of Mario Circuit Free, SNES Koopa Beach 2. That's gonna be the second track of Wave 2. Since I put Mario Circuit from 7 in the first wave, I don't want to overload us with Mario Circuit after Mario Circuit, so Koopa Beach 2 takes the slot instead. It acts as the summer track for this wave. And the third slot goes to Peach Gardens, Turnips, Mario 2, Smash Bros. You get the picture. Peach Gardens is the third track of the Turnip Cup. Propeller Cup, it keeps Snowland New York Minute is now in the first slot instead of Sydney, and Calamari Desert is moved here. But we do add one track, and that is, of course, Ninja Hideaway. Yeah, so when I said, the difficulty jump was too much, I didn't really want to move it too far back, but I didn't want to move it too far back into the waves, so I just put it in Wave 2. I'd argue it still works better here than in Wave 1. So Wave 3 starts, and we have London Loop still starting off Rock Cup, but I moved Merry Mountain to the end of the Rock Cup, because in my opinion, I don't think a tour city really should be... if you can put a non-city tour track in the last slot of a cup, it should be there. So I moved Merry Mountain from the third slot of the Moon Cup to here. But the other two tracks, 3DS Wario Shipyard is taking the second slot, and it's kind of replacing Boo Lake, because I'm not a huge fan of Boo Lake. And then the third slot is Waluigi Stadium, because this wave is where it was originally supposed to go, and I decided I wanted to put it here. Now, Moon Cup. Maple Tree Way was moved here. I wasn't about to cut it. Berlin stays here. Rainbow Road stays here. The only change is SNES Bowser Castle Free is moved all the way from Wave 6 to Wave 3. And if you've played Tour, you probably know why I did that. Now, moving on to the Fruit Cup, Wave 4. We got Bangkok Rush still here, but it's now in a different cup. It used to be in the, what's it called? The Boomerang Cup. It used to be in the Boomerang Cup, and now it's in the Fruit Cup. DK Summit and Yoshi's Island, still in this wave, but I added Mushroom Bridge. This is kind of the track I was talking about earlier, where I don't really like it, but because I'm limiting myself to 6 tracks per game max for each title, minus Tour, of course, Mushroom Bridge, it was going to take the slot, because I wasn't about to give it to, I wasn't going to do double mountain, a double jungle. Speaking of which, you'll probably see something later. Boomerang Cup got a bit of an overhaul. So first off, Sydney Sprint. This should have been in the Boomerang Cup from the start. Singapore Speedway is still the final track, but I also moved in GBA Luigi Circuit. So both rows have a circuit in their first wave, and also Luigi gets a home course now. And Daisy Circuit, that should say Cruiser. Ignore the very clear typo that should say Cruiser, but Daisy Cruiser is moved into Wave 4, and if we go back, Wave 4 now has 2 GCN tracks. But so that's already 3 of the 4 GCN tracks. You'll see what the final one is soon. Athens Dash, I'm keeping that in the Feather Cup where it belongs. I did put Shy Guy Bazaar here. It should technically be in an earlier wave since it is a Mushroom Cup track, but I think it still fits in the Feather Cup. Now, oh boy, you guys are probably going to hate me for this. Dino Jungle, I prefer it over DK Mountain. Now, I should preface this. DK Mountain was probably a better choice for 8 specifically because of how geysers work in Tourin 8. In Tourin 8, geysers cause trick boosts rather than spinouts. And I was kind of against Dino Jungle for this reason. But keep in mind that going that high in the air does still kind of slow you down. So I think Dino Jungle still works, but in an ideal world, they would replace the geysers with lava gushers. And the final track of the Feather Cup is Piranha Plant Pipeline. Oh boy, I put it here so it doesn't have to be in the same wave as another very similar track. Now, Cherry Cup, it keeps Los Angeles, it keeps Koopa Cape, but I moved the DS Waluigi Pinball here because cherries, casinos. You get the picture. And the final track is Madrid Drive now because I think that Vancouver Velocity fits better in Wave 6, I'm gonna be honest. Plus, Madrid Drive is very varied, but it's not too complicated. So, I'm putting it in Wave 5. Speaking of Wave 6, though, which I mentioned when talking about Vancouver, we got Vancouver in the Acorn Cup. Piranha Plant Cove still chilling in the final slot of the Acorn Cup, by the way. Lakeside Park, this is why I didn't put DK Mountain in, because that would mean we have 2 volcano tracks pretty much in a row. So I picked, plus DK Summit, DK Mountain, they're very similar. I picked Lakeside Park. I also like the how it kind of bookends the paths in a way, because you start off with Riverside Park, and then you end off with Lakeside Park, which is basically what happens in Super Circuit. I mean, Riverside is a Mushroom Cup track, and Lakeside is a Special Cup, so I think it works. And then Airship Fortress, not really a track I would have chosen if I'm gonna be honest, but Mario Circuit, yeah, we weren't about to leave the DS selection unchanged when Mario Circuit was there. And finally, Romavanti, Wii Rainbow Road. First of all, yes, I put Romavanti in the Spiny Cup because it is more complex than Vancouver. And of course, so yeah, it's obviously going here. Should it have gone in the Spiny Cup in the actual pass? Probably. It is very complex. However, Madrid is also very varied, so I don't know. Now, Squeaky Clean Sprint, that is being moved from Wave 5 to here because I think it fits. In fact, in my not my original prediction, but in my second chance at a prediction, I predicted that Wave 6 would have a track called Home Circuit, and that was based off of the data mines that had data for Squeaky Clean Sprint. And the penultimate track of the DLC, GBA Bowser's Castle 4. That's why I moved SNES Bowser Castle 3 over to Wave 3. So that Bowser Castle 4 could be in Wave 6. Now, let's tally things up here. 24 out of the 48 tracks remained in the same wave. That's half of them. 13 out of 48 tracks were moved to another wave. 11 out of 48 tracks were replaced, which gives us 37 out of 48 tracks that I did not change. And why is this? I just think the Booster Course Pass selection was pretty good. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that we needed to preserve tour content, obviously there would be a lot less tour tracks, but let's look at the game distribution. 2 tracks came from Super Mario Kart, which is the same as the real DLCs, too. 2 tracks came from 64, which is also the same. 4 tracks came from Super Circuit, which is 1 less than the real DLC's 5. 4 tracks came from Double Dash compared to the real DLC's free. 4 tracks came from DS, which was the same as the real DLC. 6 tracks came from Wii, which is compared to the real DLC's 8. 4 tracks came from 7, which is the same as the real DLC. And 21 tracks came from Tour, which is the entire Tour Nitro selection, which is compared to the real DLC's 20. However, there's more. The characters, I'd leave them mostly unchanged, but Peachette, no. We're putting in Hammer Bro. But that also comes with Fire Bro, Ice Bro, and Boomerang Bro. And yeah, that's basically what I'd change about the Booster Course Pass. I'll see y'all in the future. Farewell.